We continue with breaking news this afternoon about the resignation of Tshwane Mayor Dr Murunwa Makwarela. Let's bring in Kgosi Mayepa now, who is with the ANC in Tshwane. Mr. Mayepa, thank you so much for making time for us. You have defended Mr. Makwarela together with the economic freedom fighters. How are you feeling now about not only this fake document that we now understand from the office of the Gauteng Judge President that he submitted to the city, but also he's now decided to resign and throw in the towel?
Good afternoon, Clement, and also to your viewers. I think the issue of Dr. Makwarela now, it's a fait accompli. He has resigned. But I want to take you to the real issue. The real issue here is that the Democratic Alliance lost in a democratic election. That Dr. Makwarela was elected democratically. The issues of whether his certificate was fake and so on, that he has dealt with, I think he has resigned. But the real issue here is that the Democratic Alliance has run the city down, that we are having 11.4 billion identified by the AG that we owe people that we can't pay. There's 10.5 billion of unauthorized expenditure. So there's a lot of money that we owe people and we can't pay. So the city is no longer a going concern. What it means in business terms is that the city is bankrupt, and not just technically bankrupt, but also practically and administratively. So it can't do anything. So the DA is really playing around, doing other things. The DA coalition must answer, and to the media and now, because they have run the city down. The financial situation of Tshwane is in dire straits. I mean, there must be an intervention, as Premier Lesotho said, somehow. There must be a form of intervention in Tshwane to make sure that at least the residents get service delivery. Because in between all these issues, no one has addressed the issue of service delivery in Tshwane, of the townships that are not cleaned, of the robots that don't work, and many other things that affect real people.
Yeah, and Mr. Mayepa, we have addressed that. Really we have addressed that. And if you want us to have a conversation about service delivery, we can do that. And I'll still get to that with you. I'm asking you about the responsibility you take as the African National Congress in Tshwane, because even when the DA and even the media was pointing to some inaccuracies and discrepancies about this document, as the ANC, you were still defending him. What did you do when you found out that this person has not submitted his certificate of rehabilitation?
I can't speak now on behalf of the African National Congress in Tshwane, as I'm the new advisor to the Premier of Gauteng, and I can only confine myself to my new responsibility. But the African National Congress... But
you just spoke now about... But you just now reflected on the issues of service delivery in Tshwane, Mr. Mayepa.
Yes, because that I know. I remember till now, this month, I was a councillor in the city of Tshwane, and I know the issues. I know all the problems of Tshwane and what has happened there. I know all the mayors that were removed as a result of malfeasance, maladministration, and many other issues. What I can tell you right now, and I know it as a matter of fact, is that there's veritable hell in the city of Tshwane, and Clement, you must accept this. The service delivery record of the DA in Tshwane is this month. There are many issues that affect people. Makwarela was just voted by parties in council, not just the African National Congress. We know that there are many parties, almost more than 6, that voted for Makwarela, even people in the DA and other parties that voted for Makwarela. I can tell you now, and this is the story you must run, and you must ask the DA. There are people in the DA that voted for Makwarela against the wishes of the DA, and they have found it, and they have done lie detector test. So what I'm trying to say to you is that the issues are far more deeper than just dealing with the issue of Makwarela. It's gone. I mean, we must look into the future about the services to the people and things that must happen. I mean, as an interested party and a resident of Tshwane, I'll be interested to know that my waste is collected, that electricity is not just about load shedding, but actually it works all the time, that the supply of water and the streets lights work and so forth and so on. So I think that is what affects ordinary people like anyone else who live in the city, who want the capital city to work. I mean, if you think about it, the Democratic Alliance coalition has destroyed a capital city of South Africa, a leading city in Africa, the biggest capital city in the whole of the continent. So it's a very serious matter. It's not something that we must brush away and focus on.
What is also a serious matter?
11.4 billion missing.
Yeah, look, again, Mr. Mayepa, nobody says we're not focusing on service delivery. In fact, if you've watched this channel and many other news channels and you listen to talk radio stations, you'll hear that this is a conversation constantly that is being heard about service delivery in that metro. about the instability of that coalition. I just spoke to Dr. Murunwa about the issue of the adjustment budget. So we're very well aware of the priority to sort things out in Tshwane so that the service is not affected. I want to ask you this now, because what is also concerning for the members of the public is political parties that are failing to do their work to vet their candidates. So as the ANC in Tshwane, how do you go through the process of vetting your candidates? Can you tell us now that the councillors that are in that council in the city of Tshwane have been properly vetted by the organization?
I can tell you this without the fear of contradiction, Clement. I was a councillor, I was vetted. All the councillors of the ANC, PR and ward councillor that are there, they went through. You will know that in 2021, ANC came with a policy that no one will go into council except if they present their CVs, they get interviewed, they show that they don't have criminal records, and many other things that go through. If somebody has slipped that process, that will not be a general norm, but will be an exception. But the African National Congress has made sure, we had these problems in the past, where people come and they have criminal records and many other things that we encountered. But since 2021 elections, the guidelines of the African National Congress have ensured that no councillor of the ANC goes to a council, not just Tshwane, but across the country, where you have people who don't have the requisite skills, but also the CV that doesn't show that the person somehow understands the community issues. But beyond that, that the people don't have a questionable history of the past in terms of their credentials and qualifications and so on.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now, without being confused, and you know it because you're being a journalist for some time, that the Democratic Alliance has not had people with qualifications in the city of Tshwane. Now, they are the last people to talk actually about issues of credentials and qualifications. You will know that, and the public knows that.
And action was taken against those people. Action was taken against them. What lessons are you taking from this?
No, that is wrong information. That is wrong information. Stephen de Villiers, who had a bodybuilder, no action was taken against him. I mean, he's still...
The former chief of staff, what happened to her?
You can't tell me anything. I don't know. I'm asking you, if you say action was
she wasn't there.
You have evidence. I can give you evidence that it's not.
The former chief of staff. Okay, let's not be boiled down to that. Right now, as we speak, the city is trying to decide whether or not it must go after Dr. Makwarela and claim the monies that were paid to him as councillor, but also as speaker of the city council. Is that something that you, as the ANC, you will get your councillors in that city council to support for the city to claim monies that it paid to Mr. Makwarela because he wasn't supposed to be a councillor, clearly?
Yeah, the issues of whether Dr. Makwarela must pay on other things is something that must be placed before a council. Because the council is the highest decision-making body. What should be investigated and people to go after is to go after the guy who resigned from the DA as Randall Williams to say, where's the 10.5 billion that was irregular expenditure that the AG has found? Because that is an established fact. People are not talking about the things that really matter, that affected the people. I agree that if there's somebody who has done something wrong, like if they can prove Makwarela that he has really misled the city, yes, they must go after him. But they must also go after glaring issues. There's a 10.5 billion rent that me and you know that the AG says it was unaccounted for, and Randall Williams was the mayor. What do you say about that?
What process are you going to follow now as Tshwane? Do you already have a candidate that you will be supporting or that your councillors in the city of Tshwane will be supporting on Monday? Because the city manager has now called this city council meeting so that a speaker can be elected, because they're running against time. If this adjustment budget it is not approved by the end of the month, that's going to affect service delivery in the city.
I can tell you, Clement, now that the city of Tshwane was supposed to do an adjustment budget in January and latest in February, not in March. We are in March, so the budget time has lapsed according to the regulation of National Treasury. I mean, the city of Tshwane doesn't have an adjustment budget. No longer talk about the narrative of the DA that perhaps they lied to you to say that they must still do adjustment budget. I am telling you, without confusion, understanding the regulations of the Municipal Finance Management Act, that the city of Tshwane doesn't have. It's not that it can do. No, the time has lapsed. So in other words, the city is now outside regulation. So it's no longer an issue whether to discuss whether it will be done on the day. I am saying on record, you can check with all your experts, that the city was supposed to do adjustment in January.
Yeah, I know it was supposed to be
February.
Yes, and then
the question that you asked me is wrong.
So no, I have spoken to the city as well, Khosi. And I appreciate that you used to be in the city council, but I also want you to appreciate that the city has authority to also give us information about their processes, and they have confirmed that they have until the end of March to approve that adjusted budget. And you're right, it was supposed to have been approved even towards the end of February, but the problem is that was delayed because there was no executive mayor, there was no mayoral committee as well, and they have been in conversation with Treasury so that they buy time. So what I'm asking on Monday is, have you decided on the candidate as the ANC that you will be putting forward, or are you going to give this away to the Democratic Alliance?
Let's be clear, Clement, with all due respect, my brother. The city can't tell you and give their information. We're using regulation and act. There's a regulation called Municipal Finance Management Act that regulates all municipalities in South Africa. So Tshwane can tell you that for them, they will approve it in March. The regulation gives a stipulated time, and that time has lapsed. I am saying to you, let's not brush away that issue. That's a very serious concern. That shows that the issue, the city is unstable, that the finances and administration are not run properly, that there's malfeasance and maladministration in the city of Tshwane. I am saying to you, and I don't want you to go away from this issue because it's a sticking issue. The issue is that the city of Tshwane, as we speak, me and you right now, is not fit and proper. In other words, there is no budget to run the services of the city because there is no adjustment budget approved by the city. I don't want you to go away from that issue and say that the city gives the information. No, the information comes from the Municipal Finance Management Act regulation, process, and how it is done, not from the city.
And I'll go back to my question then, Khosi, because you talk about the city needing to go back to stability. That's going to start with the meeting on Monday to elect the speaker.
The meeting on Monday is to elect the speaker. And the meeting on Monday is not an adjustment, it's a special council.
Yes.
If you want to run, let me just perhaps give you information as well and go back to your answer. Now you ask me the right question. What I am saying is that if you want a council meeting to deal with an adjustment budget, you should form an ordinary council meeting. It's not a special meeting to elect a speaker. There's a difference according to rules and orders of council for special meetings and for regular meetings. Regular meetings, there's a process in Section 2A that explains how do you call that. But as far as I'm aware, there is no meeting like that called under that section to say an ordinary council is happening. If it happened, it will happen the end of March, according to the rule book. And you can't do that or find an exception because it's Tshwane and it's the DA that mismanagement the city.
Have you decided on whether or not you'll put up a candidate for the position of Speaker on Monday?
I don't know who has decided what. What I know is that if the ANC will field anyone or do anything, it will be a decision of the Provincial Executive Committee in consultation with the National Executive Committee. The African national process is that if there is anybody who's going to be fielded anyway, the ANC will have to first interview that person, make sure that the person is fit and proper, run a vetting process. So I'm not sure about, I can't answer on that. The ANC in the region will say the process. They will say if there's a preferred person from anywhere that the ANC will be interested to put. But I'm not aware of that kind of information as we speak.
All right. Khosi Mayepa, thank you so much for making
always.
time.
I thank you too. Thank you too.
Thank you for making time. Khosi Mayepa is, as you hear, now the advisor to the Premier of Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, but also speaks on behalf of the ANC. He is part of the leadership there of the ANC in Tshwane.